Hi guys, it's been a while. I'm sorry I didn't uh, shoot a video for quite a while. I just, filmmaking is or making videos and content through about education is not my forte. Like it's not yet. It will be. I'm sorry for just delaying too much time for it. Anyway, I'm gonna continue on to read this book, the Analects, and dissect the meaning of this book with you guys, not just talk about just the review. I can do that. Maybe I will after I finish the book with you guys. Maybe in the middle of the book, because people can't always have time reading the same thing with me, right? So I'm sorry for delaying, but I will continue on to dissect this book and give you my opinion on it. I also apologize for not, grooming myself too much. I'm a very busy man. Of course, Confucius Analects will be the overall philosophical study of Eastern, like Korea, China, Japan, maybe Vietnam. Like in that atmosphere, what's the culture like? Even religion. This kind of shows its true colors, the whole area. But I think I can only talk about Asia. I gotta talk about Western philosophy. I have to talk about America. I have to talk about Europe. So I'm gonna, of course, maybe reading the Bible may be the better choice. I'm just gonna read this book, The History of Western Philosophy by Bertrand Russell. And yeah, it's gonna work out. So I gotta make a video about this too. So anyway, I'm gonna talk about this and with another video about this. Thanks for clicking on the video. Hi guys, it's been a while. Continuing on for the videos that I've made. Actually, just a video. I told you I'm gonna read this book next time, but well, I think about a year ago I did relationship marketing, that book, but I'm gonna do this book. I guess the camera is a little bit better than before. I remember reading until this part, right? Okay. The philosopher Sung said, "I daily examine myself in 3 points. In planning for others, have I failed in conscientiousness? In intercourse with friends, have I been insincere? And have I failed to practice what I have been taught?" You know what? Wait a minute. I just stopped the recording just to bring this one book, and this is the same book. It's a Confucius Analects, but it's written by a Korean man. But don't worry, there is the Chinese original text of Analects. Because I want you to see the Chinese written text, what it kind of looks like. So this is the 4th, right? Chapter 4. It says, the philosopher Sung said, "I daily examine myself on 3 points." 曾子曰,物曰三. Fucking hell, I don't know what the fuck this is. 吾生为人，默而不忠乎？与朋友，交而不信乎？战不息乎? I think this is Zhan, right? I don't know. Any of these Chinese people watching in the audience, I hope you guys help me. whether I read it rightly. But I don't know. Just when you're reading any book, I feel like if you look at the original text, not just the translated ones, whether it's the Bible or Chuang Tzu, Lao Tzu, it always has some kind of advantage. You know, I'm not saying you have to be good at Chinese, but when you're reading a wise person's text, and his text, not another person translating his text, his original text, there is something beautiful about it. I always look at 3 things through my body. For people, am I conscientious? For my friends, am I trustworthy? And have I studied and practiced what I've taught, what I've been taught? So basically what he's saying is this, you know, like every day in the morning or something like that, in a mirror when you're looking at yourself, am I not conscientious? Of course, in this book, in the original text, this is the word that comes out. And this is, what is this? You guys, I think most Americans know this word. This is middle or center, right? But this is heart. So this is like a blood thing, right? It's a blood and just with a heart thing. So when there's a middle and a heart, of course this translation said it's conscientiousness. For example, in Korea, when we use this word chung, we kind of mean, a lot of us usually mean love for country. Of course, it's the mistranslation because we've been like kind of away from the original Hanzi language, so we kind of like mistranslated the word as time went on. But this really kind of means I don't know if it's really conscientiousness in its real meaning. It's more like devotion. Yeah, devotion. And this devotion can be for one thing and can be for many things. But usually it means for one thing. So there's a saying that you can't serve 2 suns under the earth. There's only one sun, bright on the sky. So in that sense, we kind of use this. So this is chapter 4, and I think in the last video I talked about how you know what? Yeah, so like in the last video I talked about how one chapter has like we give a lecture usually like even an hour for 3 chapters, or just one chapter. Like this one text, there's like 3 chapters. So look at this. This is just one chapter, right? And there's like a long text, just commentaries, of course. But who is Master Zheng? Master Zheng is actually one of Confucius's most youngest disciple, and he's known to be a little bit too righteous in a way, like, you know, following by the T, following Confucius by the nose, a little too and Confucius is actually called Zheng, the youngest guy. He's the most dumbest out of all my disciples. I didn't think he said dumbest, but he said like not the most wisest man. But because out of all Confucian disciples, he has been very popular. He's just very well read by a lot of scholars. And one of the most biggest disciples of Zheng is called Oja. I forgot. Wuzi. As you know, there's Sun Tzu, which is Sun Tzu, Art of War. And in Asia, Japan, China, and Korea, we have 7 best military texts, and Sun Tzu is probably number 1, but Wuzi is second. And Wuzi is known to be more Machiavellian than Sun Tzu. If you read Sun Tzu, he's more like a gentleman. He's very, you don't understand what he's really talking about. When you're reading his book, I mean, of course, a lot of Western people say, it's a very simple text. No, not really. But if you really read the original text, it's kind of like, he's kind of like mysterious. It kind of seems like he's trying to be mysterious at the same time. That's why there's a lot of people that even say that Lao Tzu had a lot of impact on Sun Tzu, because Lao Tzu is a very feels like he's always running away from something. He's not too direct in his speech. So Sun Tzu is kind of the same way, but Wuzi is a bit different. He's very direct in his speech. Like I don't know, if you just read history, he got killed because he was a little too legalistic. And legalistic, we might think it's all about manuals, just do what the law says. But it kind of also means he was a little bit too cruel in his legalistic ventures. So that's one very funny story. But of course, a guy like Zhengzi, who's always by the rules, I'm saying like, not by the rules, but like a little too righteous, he wouldn't like a guy like Wuzi. What Wuzi did was he kind of like killed his own wife just to succeed, for success, for fame. He killed his own wife because people were saying, oh, his wife is from Qi, we're from Chu. I think he was from Chu, or was it Wei? I don't remember. But Wuzi was trying to be successful in Wei territory, but his wife was from Qi. So people were like, I mean, I don't know if he's gonna be successful in this country because you know he's kind of like a foreigner. But because Wuzi was so desirous of success, he kind of killed his own wife. So of course Zhengzi didn't really care about that. Zheng was more about filial piety. Zheng was more about devotion for country. As I said, conscientiousness, this thing, it was about devotion for country, right? And when Confucians talk about devotion, it's not usually always for country. It's just devotion for teachers, devotion for your parents, devotion for your friendships. It's just for anything. And of course, one time, Wuzi's mother was about to die. And, filial piety is such an important value in China that if you don't go to the funeral, you're kind of like a guy who doesn't, like in Western medieval times, you didn't even go to church. It's kind of like that. No, like for 2 years you didn't go to church. It's kind of like that. So you're gonna get, treated like a witch and get killed. So Wuzi did that. He didn't go to his mother's funeral because before he went out to Wei or to another country in order to be successful, he told his mother, I will not come back until I've become a prime minister of a country, which is a very crazy thing to say, right? But that's exactly what he said. And he was not yet a prime minister. He was just being a student of Master Zheng. So when his mother was about to die, he said, I've not become a prime minister, so I wouldn't go. At least that's better, right? If you said that. But what he said was like, actually, I didn't study very well. I need to study more in order to become successful, so I can't go to my mother's funeral. I mean, like a lot of mothers, of course, they're gonna be understanding of their child. But like, at least, and not even in the Chinese term. Of course, for the Chinese, that's like unfilial That's a very unfilial thing to kind of do. But that's exactly what he did. So he didn't go. So Zhengzi was so angry that he kind of banished him from his discipleship. It's a very funny thing. So that kind of shows the story of philosopher Zheng. He's really a guy who daily examines on 3 points, like planning for others. Have I failed in conscientiousness? Have I failed in devotion? Okay, we could say it's conscientiousness, but I would say it's also devotion. For others, am I not devoted? I daily plan 3 points on my body. For people, was I not? This means not. 而不忠乎, which is, was I not devotional? For friendships, 与朋友交而不信乎? Was I not trustful? In intercourse with friends, have I been not insincere? Okay, this guy translated as insincere. Have I failed to practice what I've been taught? This means like practicing what you've been taught. So that's exactly what he does. So I advise you guys, the watchers of this video, to really do kind of ask yourself, have I not been devotional for people around me? Now, we're not talking about friends. Have I not been devotional to my country? Have I not been devotional to the religion, like to my God inside me? Have I not been devotional to my friends? In intercourse with friends, have I been unsincere? Or you could say, have I not been trustworthy? And have I failed to practice what I've been taught? So basically it's 3 words, right? Practice what you've been taught, and trustworthiness, and lastly, devotional or conscientiousness. So always ask yourself, have I been practicing what I've been learning? Have I been trustworthy with my friends? And devotional means have been acting on my devotion, right? If you don't act on your devotion, you're really nothing. So I'm just going to read one commentary of this chapter 4. 남에게, oh shit, why am I speaking Korean? No. Can I even read this text? 言反所展之事得无其不无喜而展之乎? You know what? I am a Korean. You guys gotta forgive me. I'm just gonna translate the Korean text. 남에게 전수한 것 중에 평소에 익히지 않는 것을 전한 것은 없는가? Oh yeah, okay. Like He Yan is one of the best commentaries. He's a very good poet. So what he said in the Three Kingdoms era. 남에게 전수한 것 중에 평소에 익히지 않는 것. If you have been teaching something to other people, were you not studying and practicing what you've been teaching? He's saying if you're teaching something, please practice what you've been teaching. So he's talking about this, learning. Now, of course, if you don't practice what you teach, you're not devotional. Of course, you're not trustworthy either. All right, chapter 4. Oh my gosh, it's really long. Just one chapter. Got sick. I'm only gonna do maybe like a 25-minute video. So I guess 2 chapters are left. I'm not gonna do like all of this. It's really long. The master said, master is of course Confucius. To conduct the government of a state of 1,000 chariots, there must be a religious attention to business and good faith, economy and expenditure, and love of the people and their employment on public works at the proper seasons. I mean, this kind of like it's a very generic one, I think. 子曰, 子 is 孔子, which is Confucius. 道千生之国，共学而行， 用而爱人，是民一事。I'm thinking about what I'm gonna say here. To conduct a government of state, this means to conduct a government of state, there must be a religious attention. Of course, this is also the same word, trustworthiness. There must be trustworthy attention to business and good faith. Or maybe they said it faith, but anyways, good faith, good business. This is story. So you could use this word for business, but it's also story. So he says you need a religious attention to the businesses or the happenings of the country, of state. And he says just be economical for expenditure and love the people and their employment on public works at the proper seasons. I just don't know. I mean, it's just a very generic one. Just be very good at it if you're a leader of any country or something. Or a business, whatever it is. The master said, this chapter 6, the master said, when a youth is at home, let him be filial, when abroad, respectful to his elders. Let him be circumspect and truthful, and while exhibiting a comprehensive love for all men, let him ally himself with the good. Having so acted, if he have energy to spare, let him employ it in polite studies. Of course, this is I don't think this translation is right, because it's 自以学问. It just says study words. So words, it just means study just books. Polite studies, it kind of be, for at least for the Western audience, it can be translated as you have to study propriety. But here in the Chinese text, it has nothing to do with propriety. It's a lot to do with learning, because this means learning. Or like kind of like books, not learning, but this means learning, of course. And this says this here, learning books. This is a very important text, chapter 6, and I think I can do even to chapter 7. The master said, when a youth is at home, let him be filial, when abroad, respectful to his elders. 弟子如子小，处子弟。Let them be respectful. This text is usually saying, this sentence is the most important. In my feeling, this is most important. Having so acted, if he has energy to spare, let him employ in polite studies. It says energy to spare. So you gotta be acting. Action is so important for Confucius. You know, like there's not very much metaphysical texts in Confucian literature. It's a lot of the opposite of metaphysics, which is action. So when you're at home, be filial, meaning you gotta act in accordance to your parents, like for the good of your parents. It's not just being like devotional without thought. You have to really act and be good to your parents or your brother or family. When abroad, respectful to his elders. Why do we have to be respectful to our elders? You know, being Korean myself, it was a very difficult thing to understand. And I know a lot of Western audiences have a suspecting look about why we might have to be respectful to your elders. And I would rather say you don't have to be respectful to your elders. I would rather say it's just an advantage to be respectful to your elders. Because when life, when you're a bit young and you don't have a lot of knowledge and you don't have a lot of physical experience, it's easy to kind of like not be not respectful, but more like not see the value in knowledge and experience. And you might think, oh, when I'm 20 years old, I know everything about the world. I have all the knowledge. I don't need to read more books. I don't have to have more experiences. I don't have to travel. I don't have to play music. I don't have to practice music. I don't have to practice strength training. I don't have to practice I don't know, like some kind of martial art. But when you actually study books a lot, when you actually practice a lot of music and a lot of physical, if you try to cook or something like that, you realize older people just have more skill. Older people just have more knowledge. It's not that they're better than you. They're not better than you. No one is like inherently better than you. In fact, sometimes I see a lot of young people more wiser, but it is an unknown fact. I mean, it's just like it's a undoubtable fact that older people will just have more experience, will just have more knowledge. Again, I don't tell you this is not a better thing. If they have more knowledge, that also gives room that they can have more wisdom. Of course, if they don't have Tao, which is, if they don't understand the nature of the universe, of course they're not going to be wise. But if they know the nature of the universe, their use of wisdom, use of knowledge will become wisdom. Therefore, very advantageous. I don't care if you're a Buddha at the age of 20, enlightened. I don't care if you're Lao Tzu at the age of 20. You're still not going to be wiser when the man who knows Tao or some kind of like enlightened master at the age of 50, they're just going to be more wiser than you because they just have more knowledge. So why do you have to be disrespectful to a person who just has more knowledge? It just doesn't work that way. If you want to learn math, the guy who has more knowledge about math is just gonna be, if you want to learn from him, it's a human nature. If it's just a natural fact of the universe that you just have to be nice to that guy if you want to learn from him. Like, if you don't want to learn from a guy who just has more knowledge, you're just being just kind of like foolish. So like being respectful to your elders, don't just blindly just say, oh, Confucius said it, just fucking listen to it. No, don't do that. It's just unwise. Try to know the reason why you have to be. And I just explained it just for 5 minutes right now. Now I kind of understand why you have to be this way. This does not mean you have to like kind of like always, like if they're unwise elder, that you have to always listen to them. No, just kind of like listen, just take in their knowledge. Maybe they're not very wise, but their knowledge or their skill may be very good. Just take in that, and it's gonna help you. Because if you can't always learn by books, right? Socrates used to say that he kind of suspects, he's very doubtful of books because people don't gain real knowledge. So of course the Chinese understood that real knowledge is more important than polite studies. Understand? Talking to your elders, talking to your parents is more important than polite studies. If you have energy to spare, let him employ it in polite studies. Well, if he has energy to spare, having so acted on the upper levels of the echelon. And what was the last one? Let him be circumspect and truthful while exhibiting a comprehensive love for all men. Let him ally himself with the good. It's this sentence. It says, 亲人. Ren is actually kind of like love. Jesus love. But Ren also means like, it's comprehensive. It's not just your parents. I guess before I said Zhong, devotion, has a lot to do with loving one thing. But Ren has a lot to do with loving a lot of things. And it says Qin means being friendly. So just be friendly with a lot of things. right? 心有 which is when you have acted so on the upper echelons, now if you have the power, this is power, if you have energy, therefore 则以学文, therefore you can study books. So reading books, if you could read like 2,500 years ago, in the time of Confucius, if you could just fucking read the text, you were educated. You were considered educated because at that time, most people were tribalistic. Most people were kind of like I don't know how to put it to words, but like Homo sapiens, if you know what I mean. I'm just gonna finish with chapter 7 and I'm gonna end it. Thank you for listening for such a long time. I mean, it's been not very nice, but it's not easy. It's really not easy to really make films. Su Xia said, "He who transfers his mind from feminine allurement to excelling in moral excellence, who in serving his parents is ready to do so to the utmost of his ability, who in the service of his prince is prepared to lay down his life, and who in intercourse with his friends is sincere in what he says. Though others may speak of him as uneducated, I should certainly call him educated." So I think this text and this text has a relationship. I guess he said, if you have energy to spare, let him employ it in polite studies, right? 心有无力 自以学文. When you have energy, then after you've done all this, acted upon all this, then you study books. And this text is also 智侠 said, 先贤一事, which means feminine allurement means sex. Like if you usually people turn their mind towards sex. This is like the usual thing, right? But if you turn it towards people who are very wise, and if you serve your parents and to your country, of course, if you're devotional, like prince, which is like a king, just lay down your life to a king, and who in intercourse with his friends is sincere in what he says. So if you act with your body, that's basically what he says, right? Then, even if you've not studied many books, uneducated, I should certainly call him educated. I think it's very similar to what Socrates said. What are you going to do with books if you don't have friends with your friends, if you're not good to your parents, if you're not good to your country, if you don't go to war or something like that, if you don't exercise your body, who are you? You're just nothing. It's the same. It's the same relationship as Confucius wrote in chapter 6. Again, it's the action versus education of books. Again, this is also action versus education of books. Of course, master is Confucius, but Shu Xia, which is Zhi Xia, is another person, just one of Confucius' disciples. And thank you for even listening to me until now. So I thank you for listening until now. It was very hard. It was not easy, but God's sake, I don't know if I can even finish this whole book. I think I will need like maybe 50 more videos to even finish the book. Well, even one chapter, needs that kind of thinking, because like really every chapter kind of like changed my life. I said it before. It's like one of the best self-help books that ever existed. Tony Robbins is nice. It's really nice, but like Confucius has layers. Tony Robbins, I don't know. He has a lot of layers. I mean, he has layers, but like not as deep as Confucius, because Confucius, he talks about things where he studied a lot of books on history and using words. There's a lot of wisdom in there. Maybe he was not in line like Lao Tzu, but he has a lot of wisdom. Thanks for listening. Please write the comments. Please subscribe. Put a like.